The history of the Ancients' Seed Ship. Seed ships are unmanned spaceships launched from Earth by the Ancients tens of millions of years ago, a minimum of 2,000 years before launching Destiny. The Ancients sent out several of these ships to make a path for Destiny to cross the universe. Their mission was to search for suitable planets, plant Stargates on them, then transmit that information back to Destiny. The crew aboard Destiny would then explore these planets. The seed ships have the same basic shape as Destiny, but are only about half the size and dimensions, and a third of the mass. They are flatter in their overall design, lacking a large pyramid-shaped living structure that Destiny has, and the wings at the rear of the vessel are hollow like those of an ancient shuttle. A docking port is located at the rear of the vessel, which allows Destiny to dock with the ship using a receiving port on its underside. The docking port also doubles as a power and data link. The seed ships are designed to manufacture and deploy Stargates on worlds which may possess the resources necessary for Destiny's journey, as well as planets suitable for exploration. The gate factory on the seed ship appears to stretch along the length of the ship, and has room to hold numerous gates at once. Data on these planets is transmitted to Destiny via a subspace link, which is used to determine the ship's course, as well as give Destiny places to resupply. Like Destiny, seed ships are armed with pulse weapons for defense, though presumably they are not as well armed, given their smaller size. Only the anti-fighter turrets have been shown, so it is unknown if they possess a larger main weapon as Destiny does. Seed ships have vast power reserves. When connected to a Stargate, these reserves should, in theory, allow stable wormholes to be established spanning at least the distance between the Milky Way and Destiny. The corridor inside the ships are very narrow, with only enough room for a group to walk single file. Pipes, tubes, gears are exposed everywhere, making it difficult to navigate the ship quickly. A control room similar to Destiny's control interface room is located near the rear of the vessel, which allows the ship to be manually controlled. The seed ships were launched from Earth at least 2,000 years ahead of Destiny, to provide it a course to follow. A short time after arriving on Destiny, Dr. Nicholas Rush managed to gain access to the subspace link that these ships used to communicate with Destiny, and had begun to sift through the data looking for anything of interest. Shortly after the Lucian Alliance invasion, the expedition encountered a derelict seed ship. Destiny docked with it and began downloading information from its database. They also learned that its energy reserves could be used to establish a wormhole to Earth. During the exploration of the ship, the expedition discovered a group of aliens living on the ship. Though the first one they found was docile, the rest attacked the people on the ship when they tried to dial the gate, stunning them. They reversed the power flow, threatening to drain Destiny completely. The first one escaped custody. Colonel David Telford remained on the ship and tried to reverse the damage while everyone else retreated. Rush, meanwhile, severed the docking link from the bridge, thus ending the power transfer. Destiny jumped to FTL, leaving Telford alone on the ship with the aliens. When Destiny was under attack by berserker drones, Telford's seed ship arrived and helped them escape the drones by passing through a star. Telford managed to form a working relationship with the aliens. The aliens asked for Destiny's help in defeating the control ship controlling the drones, and in exchange offered the use of the seed ship to dial Earth. The initial plan was to jump to a safe location to effect repairs before attacking the ship, but the aliens instead took Destiny straight to it, presumably because they feared that the expedition would not honor the deal. The seed ship attempted to engage the drones so that Destiny could concentrate on the command ship, but the drones just bypassed it and converged on Destiny. Thanks to the Nakai joining the battle and creating a diversion, Destiny managed to destroy the control ship after its link with the drones was jammed by Eli Wallace and Rush. But the aliens learned that they were the last of their kind and cut off communications with Destiny and went dark. The seed ship blew its FTL, dropping out early to bring Destiny to the command ship. and was unable to escape, as was Destiny. When a second wave of drones attacked, the aliens, feeling sorry for dragging the humans into their war, launched a suicidal attack on the command ship, drawing away the drones from Destiny. The seed ship was destroyed, but the attack bought Eli and Rush time to implement a plan of their own, which in turn bought Destiny's crew time to repair the shields and escape to FTL. Thank you for watching the history of the ancient seed ship. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you already did, then thank you. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to the history of Stargate. Tamara Johanneson, also known as TJ, is a first lieutenant in the United States Air Force and field medic in the Stargate program. She is a member of the team sent and later trapped aboard the Ancient's vessel Destiny. Tamara Johanneson was born sometime in 1983 and came from a modest background. She has both surviving parents and a sister. Her father worked as a tailor. He actually taught her how to do stitches. Johanneson used to go camping with her father in the Olympic Peninsula. She is also an aunt to both her sister's children and quite fond of them. At some point, she trained to become an officer in the United States Air Force and became assigned to the Stargate program, where by 2009 she would be assigned to the Icarus base, working under Dr. Sims, the lead medic at the base. She once noticed that she saw at least one gunshot suicide. She had an affair with her commanding officer, Colonel Everett Young, a married man. The two would later conceive a child. After some time, she decided to end it and avoid any further complications. Decided to leave the Air Force after her scholarship to a Seattle university was approved. This raised speculations by the base's International Oversight Advisory representative, Camille Ray. 2009. One night, the base was under attack by the Lucian Alliance. The attack fatally injured Dr. Sims, despite her attempts to save him. After they evacuated to the other end of the 9 Chevron address, she and around 80 others arrived on Destiny, and was cut off from Earth. Since Sims died, the responsibilities of becoming the lead field medic fell into her hands. Immediately, she tended to Colonel Everett Young after he arrived unconscious, and later to Senator Alan Armstrong after he collapsed from internal bleeding, which accelerated from the warframe from his heart medication. While a team was sent to a desert planet to find lime to repair the ship's life support, she looked after Young, who at the time was occupied by Colonel David Telford. He put Young's body through more physical stress, forcing her to sedate him until Young returned to his own body. A day after repairing the life support, Colonel Everett Young officially reinstated her as a medic. She tended to Dr. Nicholas Rush after he collapsed from a nervous breakdown caused by a caffeine withdrawal when the ship's power reserves failed. After a while, the ship was sent to an unalterable course to a star. Young chose her and Lieutenant Matthew Scott as the two people in charge of another 15 on Destiny's last remaining ancient shuttle and live on another planet. After the shuttle left, TJ considered those stuck on Destiny as lucky, as they faced the prospect of spending their lives on a desolate planet. When it was revealed that Destiny went to the star to refuel, the shuttle returned in relatively one piece, as were the occupants. After more time passed, Lieutenant Matthew Scott and Colonel Everett Young went to an ice planet to replenish their water supply, after half of their reserves mysteriously disappeared by what would later turn out to be the Dust Destiny expedition during his absence. Despite this, she still looked to Dr. Nicholas Rush and others for guidance. She discovered the dust bugs and planned to rid of them after they took more water and severely wounded Corporal Gorman. She successfully lured them to a water barrel and sent them to the Hoth planet. However, despite her best efforts of saving Gorman, he later succumbed to his injuries. When an International Oversight Advisory delegation enacted a plan in an attempt to return the Destiny expedition to home, Sergeant Hunter Riley was seriously injured whilst attempting to fix a leaking pipe that ignited. TJ attended to his injuries, though due to the severity he was touch and go. Riley would eventually recover. Weeks later, Colonel Everett Young wanted her to perform psychiatric evaluations on the crew to determine their mental states. After questioning a few reluctant volunteers, news of this spread, and the others attempted to avoid being questioned by her about how they were coping. Those that attended the evaluations later said something calming or angrily, as shown by Dr. Jeremy Franklin and Lisa Park. After Sergeant Spencer was found dead, TJ determined when he died. Until then, she didn't know about Spencer's addiction to sleeping pills, and believed she would have helped him if she had known about it. She also believed his death to be the result of a suicide, even though the gun wasn't found. When a trial was made in order to determine Colonel Everett Young's guilt or innocence after the weapon was found in his quarters, TJ believed the death was a suicide, but pointed out that with lack of forensic equipment, they can't prove it. Ultimately, Spencer's death was ruled a suicide after finding the Kino footage with his suicide note. Later, she attended to Dr. Jeremy Franklin after he sat on the Destiny's interface chair. He was left in a catatonic state. Following the incident, when Colonel Everett Young abandoned Dr. Rush on a planet, she offered to talk to Young about it, but he refused. After Young used the long-range communication device only to be sent to an alien ship, TJ believed that this was his imagination. The tale was revealed to have actually happened. The aliens were alerted to Destiny's location and started an alien attack. After it subsided, TJ tended to the wounded. She later talked to Dr. Robert Kane, who earlier heard that Lieutenant Vanessa James had a crush on him and wondered if he should pursue a relationship with her. He didn't want one, but reserved to change his mind. Unknown to her, after the initial attack and the return of Dr. Nicholas Rush, several civilians were planning to overthrow Colonel Everett Young. When the mutiny initiated, TJ was in the hyperbolic lab checking for any plants with medical purposes. The lab was part of the civilian side after Rush locked both military and civilians in separate parts of the ship. After learning of the mutiny, she and Airman Dunning, who was also in the wrong place at the wrong time, were disarmed and sent to a makeshift brig. After some time, the aliens returned and started attacking again. After Rush's people took back the ship and learning of the tracking implant in Rush's chest, TJ aided Dr. Brightman in removing it. Destiny later jumped into FTL out of sight of the aliens again. When she was almost 22 weeks along, Lieutenant Matthew Scott, Cole Armstrong, Eli Wallace, and Master Sergeant Ronald Gere were left behind on the planet. TJ attempted to tell Colonel Everett Young about the pregnancy, but they were interrupted by Nicholas Rush, bringing them the bad news. She was unsuccessful in her second attempt when she blurted it out. She assured Young that he was the father and told him that she planned to keep it. Young said he would never suggest that she end the pregnancy and promised to work out a way to make things work between them. At that point, Young, Scott, Shiloh, and Lisa Park were the only ones aware of the paternity of the baby. By the time Destiny left the galaxy, TJ became physically pregnant and no longer wore her usual uniform because of it. When one of the ship's faster-than-light engines exploded, causing Destiny to shake violently, injuring several people, her fellow officers and civilians became concerned with her, but she insisted that she was fine. Later, following the return of Matthew Scott, Armstrong, and Eli Wallace, Destiny was able to dial to a planet back in the galaxy. TJ requested to check out the planet since she wanted to leave Destiny anytime she can, also claiming maternal instincts should the ship be stranded forever. However, she had to stay on board when it was discovered that the Nakai had been using the planet to track Destiny again. The ship was repaired and jumped into FTL before the aliens could take control of the ship. Sometime after Destiny arrived in the new galaxy, some crew members started exhibiting hallucinations, including Matthew Scott, Shiloh, and Vanessa James, Dr. Dale Volker, and Airman Dunning. Eventually, TJ discovered an alien tick embedded in their scalps after their previous off-world mission using the squiggler venom. She was able to remove the bug safely from those who were infected with it. The crew held a baby shower for her. Sometime after that, she was given a baby-sized U.S. Air Force sewn shirt by Shiloh Armstrong and a toy truck built out of scrap by Sergeant Hunter Riley. After the shower, she was depressed at the notion of her child not having a normal life aboard Destiny, but Shiloh assured her that many of the crew would be there to help her. After receiving credible information from Colonel David Telford concerning an impending attack from the Lucian Alliance, Colonel Everett Young ordered the military personnel to prepare. TJ was ordered to stay in the infirmary and tend to any wounded during the battle, while she tended to Telford, who was in Nicholas Rush's body. The Lucian Alliance strike team arrived from an Icarus-like planet, along with Rush, who was in Telford's body. When the Lucian Alliance with Rush boarded the Destiny, Rush and Telford returned to their own bodies due to the Stargate travel. Rush, against TJ's wishes, left her to find Young. While TJ gave chase, she was captured by several Lucian Alliance soldiers and brought to the gate room as a hostage. Kiva, the commander, was prepared to execute her when Telford reasoned to keep her alive, citing her usefulness as a medic. Kiva wanted to see if this was true by sending her to Lieutenant Ferrero, who was wounded during the attack. TJ was able to stabilize him and later tended to the other wounded, including Sergeant Hunter Riley. When Kiva herself was shot by Telford, she was forced to treat her. Upon hearing all military personnel will be gathered together by Danik, TJ refused to treat Kiva further. Then an airman struggled with one of the Alliance soldiers' weapons. During the fight, TJ was shot in the abdomen and collapsed unconscious. When she awoke, she found herself in a wooden cabin on the Eden, her baby safe in a bassinet next to her bed. She was greeted by Dr. Robert Kane, who explained to her that the cabin suddenly appeared, a gift from the obelisk builders to survive the winter. The aliens had transported TJ and her baby to safety and mended her wound. And though he doesn't understand how, Kane is aware of everything that is happening on Destiny. When two other former expedition members, Dana and Peter, arrived to see the baby, Kane and TJ went for a walk. Kane showed her the phenomenon in the sky, similar in appearance to a nebula, or the Northern Lights. Kane thanked TJ for going back to the ship so the others could stay on the planet. He explained that this is why the aliens chose to bring her baby to the planet. However, TJ has made her choice while the baby can stay. TJ must return to the ship. Distraught, she ran back to the cabin to find her baby. In the cabin, TJ, in honor of her mother, named her baby Carmen. Kane reassured her that the baby will always be taken care of, and explained to her why no one would believe her story. A different series of events occurred aboard Destiny. From the perspective of everyone else, TJ has been unconscious since her injury. Doctors brought to the ship from Earth via the long-range communication devices were able to save TJ's life, but were unable to save the baby. Kane tells TJ that it is up to her to decide whether the baby remaining on the planet is a blessing or a curse. He said goodbye and TJ awoke aboard Destiny. Camille Ray told TJ that her baby had died. Sometime later, when the ship had arrived at its intended destination, TJ walked to the observation deck and saw the same spatial phenomenon she had witnessed on the planet Eden. The revelation that Destiny can interfere with its planet's unconscious minds makes these events of further dubious authenticity. Shortly after the invasion, she was part of a team that was sent to an unnamed planet in the ancient shuttle to replenish food and water supply. During re-entry, the shuttle lost power and crashed on the planet. After Lieutenant Matthew Scott and the rest of the team unburied the Stargate, she returned to Destiny. Upon return of the settlers they left behind on Eden without Carmen, TJ came to terms once and for all that she indeed lost Carmen when she was shot during the Alliance invasion. Thank you for watching the history of Tamara Johanneson. Special thanks to Stargate Wiki for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you already have, then thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.